What is up, guys? Maxmov here. Welcome back to episode 3 of Costa. It is my Southern Californian inspired build in Cities Skylines. And before any of you start wondering, I'll just go ahead and say it. Yeah, I'm pretty sick right now. You can probably hear it in my voice. I'm extremely stuffed up, and the only reason I'm forcing myself to do this is because I haven't uploaded in a while, and I figured it was probably about time to make a video. So, what's going on right now, I'm just testing out some sand, trying to get the sidewalk as well with this this perimeter road that goes all the way around the peninsula. I'm also looking for something to fill it in, make it a little bit better with that jagged edge there. It's a little weird, but also I have so many props that I've never really used before that it honestly takes so much time to go through and figure out stuff. Anyway, sorry, I apologize in advance for all of my sickly noises, by the way. But what we're going to do now is start construction on a school. A high school. So we already have an elementary school. The issue is the people here need to further their education. So we're going to start a high school. Building it up around this area, I kind of want bigger buildings to slowly transition, especially behind that big apartment complex, that little housing thing that we did in the last episode. And if you have names for any of these buildings or areas, please let me know. I'd really love to incorporate that. I think that would be super, super cool. So I'm just shifting around, playing with some parking lots, and I'm pretty excited about it. I think it's going pretty well. And also just the growth of the city so far. I mean, I think it's coming along pretty well. I'm also looking for some outer buildings to put on, since at least around me, most of the high school campuses have more than one building. It's not just one big building, they have a ton of stuff. I'm also using Prop It Up right there, as you can see, to change the trees on the that basketball court to add some palm trees, those big California palms. I think they look amazing. I'm also playing with some paths and some concrete to make it look a little bit better. Gonna try to mess with the roads as well. And also, I honestly might change this in an upcoming episode. I'm not super happy with the way it works yet. Also, I installed those parking lot roads when they came out, but for some reason, I don't know why I didn't at the beginning, but I couldn't figure out how to use them, so I went back to these lots, which honestly still work fine. The other ones just kind of have a different feel to them. Also threw in a soccer field or a soccer pitch, whatever you want to call it, and painting in concrete. It's kind of a big parking lot for the high school, but looking at it now, I think that it kind of works, because you could say that the residents and the tenants of that apartment complex could also use it. Also, I started having some big issues with those like jagged edges there. And what I ended up doing later on is I have some other assets and props that I installed that could take care of that, that are like the decal version of the concrete and stuff. And I think it looks pretty good. Because what I've done, at least in episode 4, which, by the way, I recorded a lot of episodes while I'm sick, but, I mean, because I had a lot of free time, but I wanted to just get a video out, you know, because it's been a long time, and I have some other time-lapse videos, some of the farm sim stuff, but I wanted to get something out. So, I will fix this eventually. I know it looks extremely jank at the moment, and that's something that I really do want to fix. Trying to copy it there. I also just spent a lot more time getting mods in that worked. As you can see, that just looked absolutely awful, and I deleted it and fixed it because that seriously looks so bad. But as I said, I've come up with something in the future, and also just using those decals will do a lot better job of it. So yeah, that's kind of an issue that I just left in the an issue I left in for now, and I haven't gone back to fixing it, but probably episode 5 or so we will get it done. But I'm doing the age-old trick of just hiding your issues with trees, because it works well. Also, Continuing this little two-pronged road. Wow, that was a very loud motorcycle. Hopefully you couldn't hear that. Went by my house in real life. So, also, I realized that the freeway here had no way from the side to getting to the main road. So, that's something I wanted to fix, because that would severely impact the number of cars that can grow. And for as big a city as it's getting, there's still a relatively low population. It's like 3,000 right now at the time of this video. So it's really weird, and I think that the traffic has something to do with it. In the future, of course, I want to build a train station, a ferry terminal, cargo station, airport, all of the other stuff that you normally have. I'm also tossing in a bigger road here, something that I kind of want to be a boulevard, and I'm going to try to do this more and more, which is just road planning. So laying out roads before I start building, because a lot of times we'll do like a little bit of road and build something, then a little bit of road and build something. I want to have the roads planned out all the way. Well, not obviously all the way. I'm not going to fill the entire map with roads, but I want to do a better job of filling that out. So I'm kind of working on a bigger boulevard here. And I'll be honest, whatever I do here inside that boulevard, I did end up changing, because I wasn't really happy with it. I made a couple different changes. Seriously, I really apologize for how sick and disgusting I feel. Or I sound. I know that you guys don't care how I feel, but anyway, I'm trying to do some slightly different road like shapes and patterns there. I'm still not 100% happy with it. It looks a lot better with buildings in there. But anyway, putting in some larger buildings, which will be pretty cool, I think. I'm excited about that. We have that building with the CC, that's a creative center, so I guess it's sort of like a place for people to do art or dance or theater, or maybe it's even just like a community center. But as far as I know, I think it's called a creative center. I don't know. Anyway, putting in more buildings there to fill it out and make it look a lot better. Already, that high school is really bustling, because the more offices we add, we'll eventually need a college and just more educated workers. By the way, switching over now, for some reason there's a fire in the background, I just noticed that. So that was weird. I recorded this on different times when I went and actually got some new assets and new mods, so that's pretty exciting. I'm definitely happy about that. Just adding some more detail and trying to polish things up. A lot of times I notice that I'll leave something out and then I need to go back later on and fix it, or just add to it. Also, there's seriously some weirdness going on with all of these small buildings, and I don't know what's going on with the industry, but that's here to change now, because we are building a big factory warehouse thing, 3 stories tall, pretty massive. I think it's cool. Also, in this recording, I learned how to do the parking lot roads, so we'll use some of those. And I wanted that loading dock to face in and have some parking lot and some loading docks. Also, halfway inspired from like $2.20 and the other big City Skylines YouTubers, at least detailed builders, trying to take better care of the decaling and the details. So I'm putting down some of Ronix's ploppable asphalt. That way I can add more of a divider. And it cleans the road up. Once I put once I put decals onto the road, what I can do is sort of blend it in, and it makes it look a lot better. Another thing in general that I need to do is I need to pay more attention to the blank spaces in the city. So when I'm building commercial districts and even residential, I need to be careful with how I'm filling out the spaces, because it can look pretty bad, and I haven't been fully happy with it. I actually built something in the next episode, which will be episode 4, that at the time I was like, yeah, well, it works as a commercial district, but personally, I looking back on it, not too happy with it, and I think I'll actually delete it and change it. So, I mean, it's just something that, as I'm developing as a City Skylines builder, I have, like, new skills, but we'll see what happens with it. Still working on this parking lot, though. As I said, trying to focus more on the detailing, moving the building down so that the docks are actually right there on the curb, and then putting a keep clear loading only thing, looking for some decals as well. Also, as I said, I have so many things that I've downloaded but never really used, like a lot of those theme decals, which actually take the things from the ground painters and turn them into decals that you can plop. So in instances where painting isn't working, or you just need something slightly different, you can use those, and I think it's pretty cool. I just spent some time off camera playing around, coming up with different designs and just exploring my asset collection. I'm also trying to do some line detailing, and for some reason the node networks were a little weird. I know node network just sounds great with my stuffy nose. Goodness, don't you hate being sick? It's awful. It's honestly awful. So something was up with the nodes, and I didn't install one of Ronix's mods, which helps with line nodes and stuff like that. So in episode 4, that's actually fixed. As I progress more with the city, obviously I'm gonna learn more and know what I need to do and install, so that's pretty good. At least I think. One of those, like, the more practice I have and the more time I spend building something, the more that I'm gonna learn and find out what I need to do. Making some changes to the industrial area. For some reason, like, one of the only buildings that... Goodness, that's another loud motorcycle. Perks of living on a busy street, I guess. Although I will say, I'm looking into moving, which will be exciting. Also, the area that I'll be moving to will, believe it or not, have faster internet no matter what. Even though I pay for really good internet, but because of my area, it's just not that fast. So moving to where I want to be moving, it's actually going to give me better internet, so that means live streams will probably be back. Isn't that just exciting? Anyway, I tried to mess with the roads here, and ended up completely destroying the parking lot, and it looks completely awful now. Goodness, that was... Man, being sick sucks. Or should I say talking and being sick. I want to add a second level to the... Or not second level, but instead of making it one little building wide, I'm going to make it 2. So that's what I'm trying to do here, expand the system out. I'm also trying to get some sort of driveway for the parking lot, but it's so absolutely screwed up that it's not even funny. But as I said, working on that little guy right there, bringing the road out, and the fun thing about cities is you can work around things. So, you know, we put this building in, and then now we're building the road out around it, which it does break up the grid and give it more of a natural feel, because it has the alteration of that building. Also, as I said, those decals right there, you drop them down, the exact same thing of the paint, and they have it for all the other textures, but you just drop them in, and they are perfect shapes. They have like circles, triangles, rectangles, squares, anything that you can need to detail, you just put those in, and it cleans up the lines a lot. Also, I'm just adding in those industrial tanks as sort of a filler, also because they count as industrial buildings, and we have a very high industrial demand, so that's something I wanted to fix. Also putting some HVAC vents on top to clean up that blank space, break up the monotony. As I said earlier, I really want to focus on like fixing or filling up blank space, because if you look at the real world, like, go out and just look at something, whether it's an industrial park like this or not, you'll see that a lot of times there's not a whole lot of open space, whether it's on top of a building or like in a lot or between buildings somewhere. It's all different, so that's something that I'm trying to look at more, and I want to start including reference photos and recordings from Google Earth, because I've started to research more and more, even though I'm basing this off of like at least the coastal section, not this industrial area. I'm sort of basing it off of my hometown in California, but it's still really helpful to research on Google Earth and stuff, and that's something that I'm starting to do a lot more, and I just want to get reference for that. Also, swapping out the hospital or the little clinic for a slightly larger clinic, and in an effort to make less of just gray, boring concrete, I am using some tile decals to break up the floor a little bit. Maybe they have, slightly different ground there, and then I put a fence around it because fences help with every kind of border. That sucks, and I'm so sorry you have to listen to me do that. Oh, and the voice cracks coming from it? Wow! Okay. It sucks being sick. Anyway, looking for a wall there, as I said, because even at the wall, if you look, because the nodes were weird, or the networks for the nodes, it wouldn't perfectly line them up, but as I said, that's fixed. Also, looking at the amount of traffic driving in and out of here is insane. It's also saying that they have not enough workers, which is weird, and I think because I copied and pasted those buildings over to be sideways like that, it disconnected, because later on, and even after I completely rebuilt them, deleted them and rebuilt them in episode 4, they're still saying that after this not enough worker message, they also say that police can't get there, and that there are no available raw materials, yet no other building in the entire city says either of those two things. So I'm thinking that even though I have the disable zone check, something in the game is telling them that they're not connected to the road or any resource. So we'll find out what's going on there. Also, the space in between there, I'm turning into a parking lot with these parking lot roads. Now that I learned how to use them, I think they're amazing, and they're excellent for city building. Absolutely incredible. Also tossing in some handicapped parking, because, you gotta be mindful about that. Looking around at what I can do to fill up this space, and jump cut there because different recording session, I think. I don't know. Seriously, I've just started playing a whole lot recently. I've been really inspired to do more and to build more. However, my building just isn't that great yet, so it's like I want to do some really cool things, but I can't yet. I want to put a parking lot here for this area because it's a big factory and chances are they'd have a lot of their own. That's another thing that I found that actually makes cities more realistic is the parking, because almost every building has a parking lot attached to it, so that's something I want to focus on heavily in this city. Because seriously, I don't know, people in America are lazy and they want to be super close to wherever their car is, from what I've found. Also, dropping in those roads and trying to pull them together to find the right size. I wish there were more width options, because you can go as long as you want, but width is sort of an issue. But yeah, just toying around, trying to find the right thing. I love these roads, however, the intersections are awful. The way they bow out like that, and sometimes it'll make big rectangles of curbs sticking out, and it's really weird. But I ended up dragging across and connecting it to the road there actually fixes it. And then I did the same trick with the ploppable asphalt, just to cover up the crosswalks there, and I dragged it out to make it look like the road continued all the way down, but then to the right is where the asphalt is. That way it's not like there's a chunk out of the main road that's suddenly asphalt. I've also thought about installing Networks Plus and the like American road stuff, which will give the roads different textures and different colors to make them look more American with like asphalt and yellow lines and stuff like that. I just don't know if it would mess up anything. I'm also slightly worried about performance on my PC because you can't tell in the live or in the time lapse, but if I were to do a live play, the frame rate is awful. It's so stupidly bad. Just because it has to run so much. So I'm worried that adding something like Networks Plus or whatever it's called would have a heavy hit on the performance. So I mean, eventually I'm gonna upgrade my PC, but in the time being I don't want to absolutely kill it. Also, another thing, because housing is still a big deal here, we're gonna expand the neighborhood even more. Eventually this neighborhood's gonna end. I want to turn it into a commercial district on this side, not just the other side. I also want to build a marina. That's sort of my plans in the future. I also really need to do a college, and I want to spend an episode building a college campus. And I think overall, let me know what you guys think, but in my opinion, I think I need to spend more time on, or sort of spend like more time doing less. I think it's a good thing that I have a ton of ambitions and a ton of desire to build a lot, but I need to take my time to make sure that it's realistic and it looks good, instead of just going in and filling it in. Also, seriously, I apologize for the sick noises, but also I couldn't find a house to go right there, so I thought I'll make my own park. This is something that seriously I want to do more. Make my own stuff, make it look better. Also, fencing in around the houses, that's realistic to a subdivision. That happens literally all the time because, let's be honest, we all hate our neighbors, right? I mean, hopefully not, but you want some privacy. Anyway, I'm building in a park there, which I think looks amazing once I finish it off. And seriously, like, the stuff I'm most happy about with the city is the stuff that I spend the most time on and build. That's why, like, currently my favorite build in the city is that apartment complex, because I spent a lot of time and basically built it from scratch. Granted, I used prefab buildings, but I placed them where I wanted them and used Move It and all of that. So I think if I had that same mentality with most of the city, rather than just zoning in an area and dropping it, I think that if I were to take my time, place specific buildings and build out yards, or, you know, build out shopping centers and stuff like that, I think that I'd have a lot more fun with it. But let me know what you guys think, whether or not you want to see like more time into more detail and more specific builds, or whether or not, you know, I want me to just go and build something. But I also am trying to make it different than the last like the last City Skylines series I did. I don't even remember the name of that old town, but I really wasn't happy with it because I think I rushed through it. Obviously the detail wasn't like the game there, but whatever. Anyway, I should probably talk about what's going on screen. I found these super cool houses. I also, like, in my time on Google Earth, found that a lot of the buildings, at least where I'm basing this off of, just California as a whole, they have a lot of Spanish influence, and at the very least have a lot of like tiled roofs. So a lot of times you're going to see these warmer colors on roofs. And so when I was going through the workshop, I found these and immediately was like, those are amazing. They're absolutely perfect for this feel. It's a bit of a modern twist, but they still have those Spanish-style colors. Obviously, with California being as close to the Mexican border as it is, you're obviously going to get some of that bleed-through of the culture. And I think it's seriously awesome and really does influence the look of the city. Also, to make that main road feel like more of a big boulevard and a big, more of a big thing, put in some trees to, I don't know what I mean by big thing, but to try to make it look more grand, you know? you're driving through the city, and that's going to be like, that's the main road aside from the freeway right now. So you're just going through. Also, spending more time plopping down houses. Between this recording and episode 4, I actually went through all of the growable and ploppable assets, and I added Rico settings to all of them. The only downside is a lot of them don't have pictures, so they just show up as those gray boxes in the Rico mod. But I could also use it, I could also place them through Find It. But adding the Rico settings means that I can place a specific house. Like, even though it's vanilla, some of them are actually really, really cool, and I love the look of it. So I can place that down specifically and build out specific subdivisions and stuff like that. Also, more sick noises. But what's going on screen right now is I'm building a little overpass. Eventually, I think I'm going to do a lot more terraforming of the freeway. I'm adding sound barriers, but also I noticed that a lot of Californian highways are either above ground or sort of sunken in. At least in my town, when looking on Google Earth, it's interesting, I never really noticed it, but the freeways are legitimately sunken into the ground a little bit. They're not like underground tunnels or anything, but they're a good 3 or 4 feet below the level of the houses. So even when you have a freeway just going like straight through a neighborhood area or a commercial district, which does happen, it's not that uncommon, you can still see it like going through, and like it's just sunken down, which I guess helps with noise, and I guess takes away some of the major look. Also, this is what I was saying, I'm not too happy with it. I put in some high residential area just to try to build it up, but I really don't like the look of it. I think it gets too big too fast. So chances are in episode 5 or whenever I get around to it, I will be stopping that. Also trying to figure out, as I said, what was going on there. But anyway, we are getting towards the end of the video. Obviously, you know, we're getting up there in the time, so hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, be sure to leave a like on the video, and subscribe if you're new here. Sorry for all the sick noises. My name is Maxmov, and hopefully I'll see you in episode 4 of La Costa. See you guys later.